Hey folks, this video is the first in a new series that will be focusing on programming an automated data deck using Google Slides. So this series is going to focus on learning how to write the code that you see in front of you here that will collect data from a spreadsheet that has been formatted into a stylized table and a chart, and then turn that information into a Google Slides deck that has a title page, a list, a summary list, a table, and a chart. So you can see I just ran my script, and we have this stylized deck that is called the monthly report for December 22, and it includes a summary overview of what is in the Google Sheets workbook. It has a table with a summary and the last 5 months, as well as a chart. So the goal here would be, if you are an analyst or any type of data professional who consistently has to produce slide decks as part of monthly, weekly, quarterly reporting, this is a way for you to program a system so that you don't have to copy and paste data from a sheet to a deck and have to restylize all this type of stuff. So this will increase the amount of time that you have to generate insights and craft your narrative rather than just collecting data. Slides are a complicated format. There's a lot of moving parts in there. So the way that I'm thinking about structuring this is we are going to have smaller videos that focus on each portion so that you understand how it works. That way you can modify your code based upon your needs. So today's video is largely going to focus on creating the title slide, and subsequent videos will focus on lists and tables and charts and all that type of stuff. So we are going to begin by going to Google Drive. I'm going to close all of that down, and I'm going to make that data sheet available in the comments section of each of these videos. So if you want to make a copy and work directly out of that file, you totally can. We are not going to be working with the data from that file in this video, but you can still use it as part of the lesson if you would like to. I would advise you to create a project folder. You can see that I organize my drive based upon areas so that I know where to find my files. I'm going to go into my video series folder. I'm going to go into my Apps Script folder. I'm going to go into my content creation folder. And then I'm going to go into my slides drive. And you can see I don't have any files in here. So I'm going to go up into new, more, and then I'm just going to create an unbounded app script because I just want to write the code. Again, you can use Apps Script from a sheet if you want to. It doesn't matter. All of this works, whether it's a bound script, which is one that's part of a Google document or Google file, or this Apps Script file, which is unbounded. I am going to begin by clearing out my boilerplate code there. And you can keep it if you want to. I just kind of like to get into the rhythm of things and start writing stuff down. So we're going to begin by creating a function. I'm going to call my function main. I'm going to open up those curly brackets, hit enter, and now we are at line 2. So we're going to begin by create the deck. So we're going to learn how to use Slides app. We're going to create a variable that's going to be called slides, and we're going to have it set to Slides app. We're going to use the create method, and this is where you pass a string to the create method where you can name your deck. So I'm going to call this my automated, I'm going to spell it right, automated slide deck, and that's it. I'm also going to title my project. I'm going to call it slide creator. You can call it whatever you want to. We're going to save our project, and now we're going to run it in order to give Slides app permission to read and write to our Google Drive. Okay, sorry about that. Click Review Permissions. Select your account. Sorry, my computer's lagging. So this is a very intimidating message. It merely means that Google hasn't verified this app. We're creating it, so it's safe. Again, intimidating language here with this unsafe. It's only unsafe if you tell Apps Script to delete all your files, which we will not be doing today. It's literally just saying that you're allowing Slides app to do everything that is capable within Slides app. Click Allow. Cool. So now it's authorized, and when we go back to Google Drive, our home file, you'll see we now have a slide deck there called My Automated Slide Deck. So anytime that you create a deck, you will auto-populate a template slide, right? So when you think about it, the entire thing is a Google Slides, and it's made up of slides. It's very confusing. I typically will call the entire document a deck, right? And decks are made up of slides. So you can see one slide automatically populates anytime that you create a deck. We've discussed in previous videos, whether it's sheets or docs, Google files have individual identification numbers. So this here is the file ID. Within each file, there is also an individual identification number. For slides, that ID appears over here. So you can see we have slide equals ID.p. So this initial slide that populates anytime that you create a new Google Slides document is ID of P. My process is to remove that because I want to insert blank slides so that I can start to develop whatever I want to do with it. So you don't have to do this, but I will be using it. So I'm going to be doing slides.getSlide by ID, and we're going to pass it a string of P, and then we're going to hit remove. We're going to run our script again. We're going to go back to our Google Drive. You can see we have a new presentation there. And just so that you can see, this deck now does not have any slides, right? So we're starting just bare minimum blank. Now, the reason that I decide to remove the first slide with the ID of P, is because the way that slides are structured is that you need to add elements at points on the page. And the points on the page are relative to the upper left-hand corner of each slide. So you can see here you have the ability to enter text, right? That's because a text box exists on that slide. Additionally, another text box exists here. So this is what enables you to do word processing within a Google Slides document, right? So if we wanted to edit and change those text box, we would then have to access slide P, go in there, move the text box, remove the text box, do all that type of stuff. It's probably not that challenging, but from my perspective, I like to just start fresh. So now we have code that has removed slide P so that we can create our own slides from scratch. Cool. I'm going to close those two files. I'm going to hold down Shift and I'm going to select them both at the same time. And then I'm going to hit the trash can because we don't need it anymore. We're going to go back to our script. We are going to declare a variable for index. And the reason for that is because when we start to create our slides, they will have an argument where you can tell the presentation where you want the slide to appear. So we're going to use an iteration structure that enables us to add 1 to index so that it goes from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3. This is very similar to the solution that I used in my document creation video. So if you saw that, it's the same thing. And if you haven't seen it, that's available on my channel if you're interested in developing data reports with Google Documents. Cool, so the next thing we're going to do is create a new slide. And if you want to add comments like I have, you just have to hit 2 backslashes. And then I do tabs so that everything lines up underneath these so that we can collapse code if we want to keep things nice and clean. Cool, so we are going to declare a variable for new slide, and we are going to say slides. We're going to use that slides variable from above, and we are going to insert slide. And you can see it's a 0-based index indicating where to insert the slide. So we're going to call that index variable. We're going to go to the right of the parentheses, add a semicolon, type the word index ++, which means we want it to iterate positively. So 0, 1, 2. If we did index -, then it would do 0, -1, -2. We want to increment upwards positively, so we are going to do ++. Next, we're going to create a variable for text box, and we are going to have that set to our new slide variable dot insert shape. We're going to call slides app dot shape type dot text box. Now you can see that after we declare the shape type, we have the ability to align where we want the shape to appear on the page. As we discussed when we were evaluating slide P, everything is relative to the upper left corner of the slide. So imagine this is the upper left corner of the slide. The first number in the insert shape method of a text box shape type is how far from the left of the screen you would like to go. I don't have a great method for measuring and for figuring out which numbers to use. All I can tell you is that in my projects, I typically will go anywhere from 10 to 35 from the left side. Now that is like the broadest generalization there is, because there are some times that I need to center things, there are some times where I need things hard right, there are some times where I need to rotate things. But for this example, we're going to use 35. Feel free to pause the video or in your free time play around with different numbers to see how left changes where your text box ends up. The next argument is top. And again, top is relative to the upper left corner of the page. So if left determines how far you move from the left of the screen, top is how far you move from like vertically, right? So a better way for me to have said that is that the first argument, left, is the horizontal movement from the left side of the screen. Top is the vertical movement from the upper left corner, right? So left moves you horizontally to the right. Top moves you vertically from the top to the bottom. So we're going to just go simple here and say 35. The third number represents the width, right? So this determines how wide your text box is. Just for the sake of having some space, I'm going to put 300, and then height is the vertical width or length, right? You can't have that, but like, sorry, you got to get what I'm saying, right? Like, third number determines how wide, fourth number determines how tall. So for argument's sake, let's put in 300 just so everything's like kind of equal to one another. Cool. So now we're going to have a text variable in there, and we're going to have that set to that text box variable that we just created, and then we're going to get text. which will now allow us to start writing some text. So we're going to say text dot set text, and now we can just like type whatever we want to. Now, because we are hard coding text in here, I would recommend using double quotes. If you look at my code up here, I typically default to single quotes for strings, but because we might say things like, hello, I'm excited to be here, this single quote here will cause an error, because what'll happen if you have single quotes around your strings, right? So you can see what happens is the computer doesn't really know that these two are not supposed to like be the opening and close of the string. So then this is exposed here and it causes an error. I'm sure there's a way to use single quotes if you want to. I don't know it off the top of my head. It's just easiest for me to put double quotes in here, so that's what I would recommend to you, especially if this is the first time that you're using this. And again, I will use this as a call. I am by no means an expert in Slides app. I recently used it as a project and I thought other people might benefit from it. So if you are someone who uses Slides app regularly, please leave comments anytime that I say something that may not be, the best way to do it, or if you have a way that you prefer to do it. We're all students here, and we can all benefit from sharing knowledge. Cool. So now that we've done that, why don't we run and see what we got? Cool. So let's go back to our drive, and now you can see we have a new slide deck in here. Check it out. We have something that is, again, it is 35, 35, and then when we click on it, you can see we have a very large text box here because it's 300 in width, 300 in height, right? So just to recall, this text box started up here, and then we entered the number 35 from the left, 35 from the top, 300 width, 300 height. And that's how we ended up with this box here. Cool. So let's close that out. Let's delete the presentation and let's go back to Slide Creator. And let's create a new slide. And what we'll do is we will create a new slide and stylize the text. Cool. So we're going to be doing a lot of the same stuff that we just did. So if you want to copy paste, go for it. I'm going to type it out again just so that we get good reps with this. So we're going to do new slide is equal to slides.insert slide, and we're going to reference that index variable. We're going to use semicolon, index plus plus, semicolon. We're going to do var text box. We're going to have that set to new slide. We are going to insert shape, and we are going to call slides app dot shape type dot text box. And let's do the same thing we just did. Let's do 35, 35, 100, 100. Sorry, I did that a little fast, but remember, 35 from the upper left, 35 down from the upper left, 100 across, 100 height. Cool. We are now going to declare a text variable, and we are going to say text box dot get text. And now we are going to write some text. So we're going to do text dot set text. And this time, let's say, hey, does this work? And we want to add some style to it. So we're going to use get text style. That's an open argument. We don't have to pass anything to it. Sorry, no semicolon there. Hit enter, hit period or dot, and do, let's change the font size. So we'll do set font size, and let's change it to 36. And let's set font, no, you know what? Let's see, do we have let's set bold. And bold is Boolean, which means it's either true or false. So we're going to type the word true because we want it to be bold. And then let's do set font family. And let's do Playfair display. And we'll add a semicolon there. And yeah, let's hit save, run it, and see if we got anything cool. Cool, so we're gonna go back to our drive, we're gonna open up our deck. You can see we have hello, I'm excited to be here as slide 1, and now we have a second slide. And check it out, we have a second slide that says, hey, does this work? But check it out, our text box is a little bit too small for all the text that we wrote in there. So then we ended up having this like very condensed um, file or text box. I guess I like mistyped something here. Yes, because I did 35, 35, 100, 100, right, instead of 300, 300. So that's a fun little mistake, right? So now you can kind of see how the text box does not auto expand unless if you tell it to auto expand. I haven't done that, so I'm not going to do that live on video. But in the future, if I come across a cool solution for that, I'll put an update somewhere. All right, cool. So we can delete that because we don't need it anymore. And we're going to leave it like that because, hey, character is a fun thing to have. So now let's move on to create a new slide, stylize the text, and add a background color. Cool. So I'm also going to hit enter. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to collapse some of these older variables. And this will also give you a nice chance to do a pop quiz to see if you remember all this stuff. Cool. So we are going to start by declaring a variable for new slide. And we're going to have that equal to slides dot insert slide. We're going to reference that index variable that is hidden, and we're going to do semicolon, and we're going to do index plus plus semicolon. And then we're going to do a var for text box. We're going to have that set to new slide, and we are going to insert shape, and that is going to reference slide app dot shape type dot text box. And then we are going to let's do 35, 35, 300, 300. So we'll go back for the larger one this time instead of the smaller one that we had originally done. Then we're going to do a variable for text, and we're going to have that set to text box dot get text. And now we can start writing stuff. Cool. So let's do text dot set text, and let's get sassy and respond to slide 2 and say, yep, this works and it's cool. And we are going to get text style, and we are going to set font size to 36, set bold to true, and set font family to Playfair display. And now we are going to add color. So add background color. You don't have to add this comment if you don't want to. And we are going to say new slide dot get background and set solid fill to so let me talk about this real quick. Set solid fill requires 3 values, and they are the red, green, blue, also known as RGB values. So within Sheets and Docs, I believe most of the methods call for hex codes. And hex codes are hash symbols that have 6 characters that determine what a color is. You can also type it, in some instances, you can also type in like as a string, black, red, blue, green, what have you. But if you want a unique color, like a more bespoke color, like lighter reds and lighter yellows and all that type of stuff, you can use the hex code. within Slides app, at least with the methods that I've used to this point, it requests an RGB value. So I'm going to enter in an RGB value that I have, that is that color green that you saw in the example at the beginning of the video. And then once we create our new slide, I'll show you how you can find RGB values within any Google document or Google file. So I'm going to enter in 52, 187, 105. And we're going to add a semicolon. We're going to hit save. And then we're going to run. Hopefully we get no errors. Lovely. Go back. Open up our automated slide. We see we have our first slide, which is hello, I'm excited to be here. We have our second slide, which had our tiny box. It says, hey, does this work? And then we have our third slide that has a unique color background and says, yep, this works, and it's cool. Awesome. So in the event that you are, I mean, I'm sure there's tons of resources out there, but if you're someone who's new to programming or development type work, all Google files have access to RGB values and hex codes. And you can find them by going to any of this. So like you can go to fill color, you can go to text color, you can go to highlighter color, and any of these will have this custom color option where you can pick a custom color, add a custom color, whatever. And if you click on this, you'll see that you have this wheel up here and you have the hex code value and the RGB values. So if you want to pick a color, you can just drag and drop this like this, and then it'll show you what the values are that you need to enter. And then if you want to go to like a green or, you know, all these other colors in here, this is a really easy way for you to get access to those numbers. I think it's just like very tangible to go in here and find this stuff. So that's how I find my hex codes and my RGB values. I just go into Slides or whatever, and then I just pick a color I want, and then I apply it based upon whatever the method requires. Cool. So now that we've gone through all of that, we are going to delete that slide, and we're going to go back to our project file, and we are going to create, oh, sorry, I'm not going to collapse that menu yet. We are going to recreate the title slide. So this is going to be a kind of recreation of the monthly report title slide that you saw from the sheet that we were using. So if you are working out of a copy of that data file, if you want to, you can delete most of the create new slide stylized text, keep everything from this section up here, and you can delete everything else. And then this will be the jumping off point for our final project. Cool. So we're going to begin by saying var new slide is equal to slides dot insert slide, and we're going to pass it that index variable with a semicolon. We're going to do index plus plus semicolon. We're going to do var, and we're going to insert a text box, and we are going to reference new slide, and then we are going to get shape, or no, sorry, we're going to insert shape. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Insert shape. We're going to call slides app. We're going to do shape type, do a text box. We're going to insert some new variables or some new values. We're going to do 30, 75, we're going to do 300, and we're going to do 150. Add a semicolon. We're going to declare a variable for text, and that is going to reference text box dot get text. And now we can start entering some text. So we're going to reference that text variable dot set text parentheses double quote the monthly report, and we are going to say get text style. We're going to hit enter. We're going to do set font size to 36. We're going to set font family to Playfair display, and we are going to set set foreground color to 255, 255, 255. So what this is going to do is this is how you change text color as well. So if you if you want to find a hex code for a particular color that you want, this is going to change it from black, which is the default, to white. Cool. So now we are going to create the report subtitle. And we are going to basically just recreate everything that we just did. So if you want to copy paste, go for it. I'm doing this so that you can get in reps if you want to. Var new slide equals slides dot insert slide index plus plus semicolon var text box equals new slide dot insert shape slides app dot shape type dot text box. And then this one is going to be it's going to be 30, and then it's going to be 175 instead of 75, right? Because we want it to be lower than the monthly report header that we have in there. We're going to have it be 300 and 100 semicolon. We're going to do var text is equal to text box dot get text, and then we are going to do text dot set text, and we are going to do the thing the report is about, and we're we're going to go to the right, and we're going to do get text style, and then we are going to set font family. Oh no, sorry. Let's do set font size, and we're going to have that be 14, and then we're going to do set font family to Montserrat. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but I felt like getting a little saucy. And then we are going to set foreground color to 255, 255, 255. And now we are going to add background color. So we're going to do new slide, get background. We're going to set solid fill, and we're going to do 52, 187, 105. Cool. So we're going to hit save. We're going to cross our fingers, and we are going to hit run. We didn't get any errors, so I love to see that. We have a new slide deck. We're going to go in here. Hello, I'm excited to be here. Slide 1, wonderful. Hey, does this work? Slide 2, wonderful. Yep, this works and it's cool, great. And then we have a problem. Okay, so I think what happened, I was like aware of this while we were doing it. Apologies in advance. I think what happened is we have basically the same text box variable that probably was written over. So what I'm going to try doing here is, and we also inserted this new slide in here. That's okay. We have a couple errors that we have to clean up. So you can just remove line 44. I think this actually might work, but let's see real quick. If you remove line 44, which just to be clear, I added in var new slide equals, which is then creating a new slide. So what happened here is I think the foreground color turned white, right? So let me see if I can do Command Z. Yep. So if we open this up again, what likely happened is slide 4 probably has the text box, right? So you can see it's in there, but it's white. So what happened is instead of these appearing on the same slide, because I added in that extra line of code here for var new slide equals slides.insert slide index, these two created new slides. This set the foreground color to white, so that we had a white slide very similar to slide 2, right? So then we have white on white text, so we couldn't see it. Slide 5 ended up getting that new slide.background color.set solid fill. That's why this didn't work. So take a moment, look over your code, and if you have what is on mine, line 35 and line 44, underneath create the report subtitle. So after you've entered in monthly report, play fair display, all that type of stuff, remove that duplicative new slide, hit save, attempt to run, and delete that extra one there. Cool. So let's open it up and let's see if this works. Hello, I'm excited to be here. Slide 2, hey, does this work? Yep, this works and it's cool. And ta-da, the monthly report, the thing the report is about. Cool. So that's where we're going to end it here today. To recap, we introduced the beginnings of automating a data report using Google Slides. So we learned how to do the following. We learned how to create a deck using Slides app. We learned how to remove the template slide, which is slide P. We established an index so that we could iterate upon each of our slides. We learned how to create a new slide, how to insert text box, how to set text, how to stylize text so that we could change the font size, set things to bold, change the font. And we also learned how to change the background of the slide to a new color, as well as how to add 2 text box to one slide. And this final section of code here is what will ultimately appear in our final project, which will be a full data report from a Google Sheet that is then sent to a Google Slides deck. So like I said, I'm not an expert in Slides app, but I have started to use it recently, so I was interested in putting something out there so that others could, be creative with it. I love getting your feedback, so please reach out in the comments section. I'm hoping to release a new video each week, so there should be another one next week. I think I'll probably do it on tables. They're a little bit complicated, so we're going to spend some time on there. So I hope you enjoyed it and wish you the best of luck with this. Bye.